It is the third video of the enemy Bar-Asba is the writer. The lesson is taken from Vistas. Here I would like to tell you something about that very gardener and Yumi who were working in the house of Dr. Sadao, the gardener who had been the most faithful servant, who used to maintain the garden, and he was such a man who was so believable and trustworthy that he had also seen the childhood stage of Dr. Sadao. Actually, he wanted to protect them. He wanted his master to be loyal to his country. But seeing a man like American and being harbored by Sadao really changed his mindset. What did they converse? That I would like to tell you. Servants threatened him. And how you can understand these things. Really, it is very interesting to know. Here, now, Hannah considered that was a doubtful thing when Yumi did not answer. And really, it was the first time that Yumi had refused to do any kind of assignment that was given to her. Here, he was her enemy. Means the American was Hannah's enemy. Then she turned to the nursery and called Yumi. Yumi was just sleeping and trying to make the children calm and play. There was the baby's soft black hair. She motioned with her mouth, "Yumi, come with me," when she said. She went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery and stood with the boy in her arms while Yumi spread the sleeping quilts on the floor and led the baby between them. Hannah led the way quickly and softly to the kitchen. There were two servants, frightened at what their master had just told them. The old gardener, who was also a house servant, pulled a few hairs on his upper lip. He also became annoyed. He thought that master should not heal the ounce of this very white man. He said bluntly to Hannah. Then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. How superstitious this man was. That is said that this very American was done something with the gun, and then the sea took revenge and his master wanted to comfort him. Certainly the sea and this very thing, he took the revenge. He must not interfere in the war. Hannah very politely told the gardener that whatever is narrated, she could tell Sadao. She herself was also frightened because she was not superstitious as the gardener was. And so she told Yumi to fetch the hot water and bring it to the room where the white man was. She went ahead and set back the partisans. Sadao was not there. Where had he gone? He had gone to bring his emergency bag to operate. So now there was Yumi left in the room, but as soon as she saw that very man, she went away. But her stubbornness, her rigidity, really frightened Hannah. She thought that if she goes out of the house and reveals the secret to someone else, suddenly their life was at stake, their prestige was at stake. Her anger was ebbing. She was anxious again, wiping her hands on the wrong towel, then, lest the man be chilled, she put the quilt over him. She knew that if he is chilled, then he would certainly die. And then she just followed. She was thinking that how nice that room was, but his blood had really made the floor dirty. The blood really overflowed when the opening of the stopper was made. Now, Sadao operated. Hannah gave anesthesia, and I have already told you how did Hannah feel. Raised, vomited, and she gave him anesthesia. Here there was another fact, conflict between duty as a doctor and duty as a true patriot. He was a true patriot, he was a true doctor. As a doctor, he could not leave the patient dying, and as a true patriot, he must not provide treatment and harbor the enemy. But first, he was a doctor as he had been trained, and he had been told by one of the professors of anatomy when he studied in America that if a patient is dying, if a patient is sick, it is the first and foremost duty of a doctor to provide treatment. That's why he could not forget, and he had become a surgeon and a scientist during his father's time. And he also knew that ignorance of the human body is the surgeon's cardinal sin. That was also thundered by one of the professors of anatomy. To operate without as complete knowledge of the body as if you had made it anything less than that is murder. There are so many quacks. There are so many assistants of a doctor who really see the doctor operating, and they understand that they can also operate the patients though they have less knowledge. They do not know after cutting that very vein of a body who can be paralyzed and what effect can it produce to that very person who was under operation. Dr. Sadao did not want to be called as a traitor. He did not want to deceive his country and countrymen as he was the doctor in the army. He knew his position. He knew his dignity. He loved his wife and children. But he was compelled. He was compelled to save the prisoner anyhow. And so did Hannah and Sadao did. They did not relent the treatment of the prisoner, and they really did it. He was provided treatment, his bullet was removed, and it was his habit. It was Dr. Sadao's habit when he operated the patient, he muttered something, he talked with some patient, and he forgot while he was operating. He called that American my friend while he was operating. Now you can imagine how he could have forgot. He was so much engrossed in operation to save his life that he did like this. So here I have told you that very duty, conflict of duty, as a doctor and as true patriot, what were the thoughts of the Hana, Yumi, and the gardener who had been maintaining the garden so nicely? Thank you, children. Thank you. I will tell you something more in the next videos. There are lots to tell. It is a very long chapter, so you don't be frustrated to know. And if once you know all these things, certainly that will benefit you. Thank you.